Day 6 of the 36th America's Cup. In case we needed more action. Far out. I think I counted 3 lead changes. We actually saw a luff coming into a bottom mark. But it was Emirates Team New Zealand in the end who won the only race of the day to take it to match point. It's now 6-3. This is your AC Chat and Wrap Show. My name's Nick Douglas. Lovely to have you joining us to wrap up today's racing. Am I the only one who's exhausted? I'm exhausted. We've had 3 races in a row of heart-stopping stuff. Today, match racing at its best. Jibing duels, tacking duels, actual tactics coming into the bottom mark, upwind starts. Oh, I was loving it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And if you're not converted yet, I feel sorry for you. But let's get straight into just what went down today. Oh, are you ready? Shall we relive it? Okay, I'm ready. We can do this. We've got this. Another beautiful day in Auckland, though cloudy, and those nor'easters that we've seen the past few days flicked around to the southwest. Plenty of fans in the village. Hope you enjoyed our dock-out footage that we shared as it was happening. Thanks to Sue Bunce, our adventurer on the ground. And here's the close-up action. Lots of noise for both teams. And out we went. Small delays, but racing did get underway at 16:45 local. Luna Rossa started to windward. Then a long tack on port. And eventually, Luna Rossa flicked them. It was even Stevens round the top mark, all but the first time. But Luna Rossa managed to gap them with deltas of 1 second, 8 seconds, then 9 seconds. And so one last move on that last work, and Emirates Team New Zealand came out of the right with a 150-metre lead, which extended to 400 metres down the run. They waited around for a second race, but it wasn't to be. Racing was abandoned.
Racing has been abandoned for today.
And so the scores remained at 6-3 in this first 2-7 series. So Emirates Team New Zealand are now at match point. My goodness. Yeah, that was incredible racing. Let's have a listen about what Pete Burling, the helm of Emirates Team New Zealand, had to say when he was interviewed after the press conference.
Yeah, well, we felt like we sailed a pretty good race today. You know, we got a very even start, and it probably took till halfway up the first beat to really see, you know, who got the better of it. They managed to get a little bit of a right shift going back to that on that long tack and just got to us. So, yeah, that put us behind, but, you know, then the way we kind of kept fighting, kept it close, you know, it was the lead changed both ways on the first run. We were very close to a pass up the second beat. You know, it just felt like we were always neck and neck, kind of on the phasing, and then to get that last right shift coming to the top mark was, you know, something that was, hard work in the setup to keep it that close, but, you know, it's great to be able to take that opportunity when we got it.
Talking about that right-hand shift and how they were able to take advantage of it, which ultimately gave Emirates Team New Zealand the lead around the final mark and the ability to take that win in what was an important move for them to take this to a point where they can actually consolidate and take the series win. Now, for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, they can afford no more mistakes. Here's a little bit more from Pete Burling.
The pressure's come off, but, you know, I think it's something that we've been enjoying this journey the whole way. You know, it's been absolutely incredible to have so many home fans out here cheering for us. You know, so many boats on the water. You know, it was almost funny when the commentators were saying, you know, what do you think the next race was going to happen? And you're kind of like, oh, it would probably be pretty cool to, you know, see another day of this. And, you know, it was obviously a shame it didn't happen, but, you know, we're blown away by the support and loving being out there and racing.
Did I just hear that right? Did Pete Burling just say that maybe it would have been good for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli to win a race because he's enjoying the racing and he wants another day and he's enjoying the spectacle that they're putting on for everyone in New Zealand? I think that's pretty cool, actually. But that just shows that they're in a position where they feel quite in control. And I think what we've seen is that Emirates Team New Zealand have a very fast boat. But today, in straight lines, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli managed to hold them, which was really, really good sailing, I think. And we've heard Kiko on numerous occasions say that they've just got to get their elbows out, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. And they had their elbows out today. And gosh, they fought hard when they were coming into that bottom mark especially. The elbows were out wide. It went from 1 second at the first top mark to 8 seconds at that first bottom gate, which was pretty incredible to see. So, yeah, it was just brilliant racing. But you've got to feel sad for the Italians because at the end of the day, I feel like they lost that race. It wasn't necessarily, I mean, it was still a massive win for Emirates Team New Zealand, but they're the ones that hurt the most when it's sort of in your grasp, but you just let it slip through your fingers. So here's Glenn Ashby. It was great to see him come and chat to the media today.
It was an amazing race. It was one of those ones where I think, they're the sort of ones that you remember really for the rest of your life. Win or lose, it was pretty epic. The guys on board did an amazing job today to provide the power necessary to sail the boats accurately in those conditions. It was really puffy and really shifty, and the guys on board did a great job to we've got a pretty big afterguard on our boat, and the boys did a fantastic job to pick some nice angles. So they certainly threw everything at us, but we threw everything at them as well, and really at the end of the day it could have gone either way, and we're really happy to come out on top.
It definitely could have gone either way, and we know they're happy to come out on top because they're very, very close now to successfully defending their America's Cup that they won in Bermuda in 2017. There are a few people commenting and saying that the Kiwis are fast, and yes, they are very fast, which is why Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli basically have to sail perfectly to keep them behind them. The Kiwis can afford some mistakes because they can make it up in raw boat speed, but the Italians don't have that option, and they definitely don't have that option now because it will be game over. Here's a bit more from Glenn Ashby.
There's quite a lot of us at Emirates Team New Zealand that have been 1 point away from winning the America's Cup previously. So we've seen the movie before, and it's never over till it's over, and we've absolutely seen that. So we'll be going out, working hard, taking tomorrow as another day. We have to race well. As we've seen, these guys have got a package that can deliver race wins. They get the best out of their equipment as we try and hope to as well. So tomorrow's another day. We just hope we can go out there and race well again.
Tomorrow is always another day, and in match racing, you are only as good as your last race, and the aim of the game is to win the last race of the series. If you win the last race of the series, you win the regatta. So they do know there's a long way to go, and we've seen Emirates Team New Zealand in this position before where they've had it just within their grasp. So there has to be an immense amount of pressure on them. But at the same time, there's a lot more pressure on Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli at this point. So on that note, we might have a little bit of a listen to some of the words that the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli sailors had to say. We'll start with Jimmy, I think. And I think a lot of people were waiting for him at the press conference to say, what if they lose from here? We all remember that moment in San Francisco. But it's a different kettle of fish at the moment in terms of Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli and how they're racing. And it's just going to be another interesting day tomorrow. Nobody really knows what's going to happen.
We executed, the majority of the race pretty damn well. I thought the guys did an awesome job sailing the boat. I thought the boat was going very, very fast. I thought Pietro Sabello was doing an awesome job just keeping us rolling and on our numbers. And we just have to take the lessons from today, and really sort of go back, learn from it, and, come out tomorrow ready to go.
It's match point.
Indeed, that's what they have to do. They have to go out tomorrow and do what they have to do, as they had to do today as well. And my goodness, Jimmy has won the last 3 starts in a row without winning a race. Remember when we thought that if you won the start, you won the race? Obviously, that's not the case, but they've definitely been doing their best to put their elbows out. Let's see what else he has to say.
Out of my mind, Shirley. I know you believe it too. And so, yeah, look, the team, coming back to the dock, you could just see it in everyone's eyes. There was no negativity or, heads down. It was everyone just ready to roll. I mean, this team, no one gives up, and we're going to get a culture of we're not going to disregard the race from today. We're going to come back, we're going to learn about it, we're going to take ownership of it, and we're going to get stronger. And yeah, tomorrow there'll be no towel to throw in. The gloves will come off, we'll come out swinging, and we'll focus on just one thing, and that's winning one race. We don't have to look too far into the future, and that's the beauty of the position we're in.
As you said, and the sailing world know only too well, you've been in this position before. I'm sure the team are looking to you now in this moment. How will you lead this team going into what is a must race, a must-win race?
Well, the team is I tell you, nothing needs to be said. You can just see it in their eyes and the way people are responding when we came back ashore. Everyone is up for the fight. No one's walking away, and they're genuinely excited to get out there tomorrow. It's I think the culture that we've built we've come a long way from the beginning of this campaign, and man, today was an awesome race. We've got to take the lessons, but I can't wait to go again.
Yep. And we can't wait for them to go again. There's lots of people commenting that they want more racing. I want more racing too. What am I going to do when the cup is over? I'm exhausted, but I need it to keep going. What will I do? Far out. Now, I have a funny comment here as well. Nick from Ryan Duffield, did Jimmy and Glenn have a carton on the next one? Well, yes, I would say so. The one who wins has to buy the loser a carton, for sure, and drink half of it with them. I reckon that would be the bet that I would have if I was Gashby or Spithill. I'd definitely be looking at it that way. But it is really hard, and as an Australian, I do love Glenn Ashby. He is an incredible sailor, and as you heard in that interview with him a little bit earlier, and you might have watched the press conference, he's also incredibly humble. And can I just say that he's putting a lot of the credit in the hands of Pete Burling and Blair Tuke, which I think is correct, but he is an incredible factor in that team. And gosh, he's led them so well. From San Francisco, he continued to stay with the team all through Bermuda and now all through this America's Cup. And he's, as we know, an incredible foiler himself. So I think he's an integral part of that team, and that shouldn't be downplayed. Somebody else who's an integral part of that team, we heard in that interview there that everyone is leaning on Jimmy right now, and they are. Like, we're all talking about Jimmy's done this before, but it's the whole team that's behind the results that we're seeing on the water, and Keko is a big part of that. So let's hear a little bit of what he has to say. The left-handed helmsman, got a bit of a partiality to left-handers. We've got to unite. It's really important. But gosh, it was a hard day for them on the water, and I'm sure that he'll have something to say about that.
Obviously, it's a very tough moment, and was a very tough moment when it happened. Mainly also because we did a fantastic race until then, and was just about reading the pressure in the water, and honestly, we saw a very light patch on our bow, and we decided to protect the left. But clearly, there was a big puff on the other side of that lull. Anyway, it is what it is. We have to keep fighting until the end. That's all it matters.
I mean, how many times have you had a puff on a racetrack and it's completely changed your day? I'm sure we've all been there. And sometimes it goes your way and sometimes it doesn't. And this time it happened to go the way of the Kiwis, but they had to be there to take advantage of it. So should we have loose covered them back to that right-hand side? Should we have let them go? I'm sure that they will think about that for all of 2 seconds, as Jimmy said, because they've got to keep their eyes on the prize. And all they can do from here is improve, move forward, and get on to the next race. That's the most important thing. So you'll hear that.
Very frustrated. I think, you have to admit when you made a mistake. And I was in charge on that moment to decide. There was a discussion on board, but I was the guy. We have our rules, and I had to take the decision either to go straight or to tack. We tacked, and the decision was wrong. But you have to admit when you make a mistake.
You have to admit when you make a mistake, and really good to see Kicker owning that there. He was on the helm when they were on port. He did make that decision. He had to stick by it, and the whole team stuck by him, and they'll continue to stick by him because they are a team.
A very wise man, and a good friend of mine, said once, imagine what a story would be if they lose from here. He's a very wise man, and I learned a lot from him. And he won an America's Cup with it, so I'm trying to do the same.
And I think we'll finish on that note with the interviews. A very wise man that he knows and is a very good friend of his said, imagine if they lose it from here. He's learned very much from him, and he's trying to think of that as they go into tomorrow. You can see that these two have become best mates, which is absolutely adorable. The weather for tomorrow. It's back to that nor'east. It's looking like 8 to 14 knots. In this direction, we can expect course A, and that course that we see sucked in against Rangitoto Island. Maybe course E, but it does look a lot lighter out there. But that said, the forecast can change overnight. It could work for course C as well, but it would be very puffy. But it seems like they're enjoying having those puffy conditions. So, yeah, all I can tell you is the wind direction, and Big Fella will choose a course in the morning and we'll be live. I did say maybe this will be our last show with Tour this morning. It wasn't to be. We will be back again in the morning, and it might be our last show in the morning, or will we live to fight another day? We'll see. Just remember, everybody, be more poppy. Enjoy your America's Cup racing. Go and tell a friend that isn't a sailor about how great the racing is, how fantastic our sport is, and I hope you have a fantastic night. Thank you all for joining me. My name's Nick Douglas for Adventures of a Sailor Girl. This is your AC Chat and Rap Show.